Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click in the MIDI clip and get rid of all that nonsense and start to try to use this rhythm generator tool to produce a really compelling drum clip. And you might have noticed that because it's a drum rack, Live doesn't try to apply any scale. It kind of understands this is probably percussive in nature, and so we don't have any scale settings visible. In the clip, we've just got our drum pads named and available here, which is great. So I will go and select our kick drum, because where else would you start with a drum clip? And immediately by selecting the bass drum, it's created a pattern. And we've got the number of steps, how many notes there will be in the pattern, how busy the pattern will be with the density. And based on those two settings, along with the step duration here, we will have a different number of patterns available. So you'll see that the patterns that are available are a factor of these other settings. Now, let's just press play so we can hear this kick drum pattern as I move it around. Okay, so some interesting patterns there, kind of broken beated. And you'll notice that the fourth drum hit, especially as I open the velocity lane here, is a higher velocity than the others. And this is because of our velocity settings along the bottom. So on the left here, we have the default velocity, and then here we have the accent velocity. And the frequency here is how often, how many steps will occur before we have an accented note generated at that higher velocity of 127. We can also use these arrow keys to move where that currently higher step is located. And we can see that in the velocity lane as the higher velocity moves around. Now, if we want all of the steps to be 127, we could try two things. We could say, don't ever make an accent, or make all of them accented at full velocity, or of course, just move the default velocity up to 127. Okay, so I'm going to get into the shift and the split momentarily, but well, no, let's do the shift now so you can see that it's like a rotate function if you've ever used a Euclidean generator, which we'll look at later, but it's just shifting the same pattern where the notes occur. It's moving them around in a sort of cycle. Now, it gives me a maximum of 8 shifts. But what I want to do is see if I can use this to just create a quarter note 4 on the floor pattern. And I can move the step duration, and we're going to get different intervals here. And let's just go to quarter notes. And quarter notes as a step duration with a maximum of 4 steps and a maximum density of 4 is going to give me a 4 to the floor pattern. If I reduce the density, we've only got 3, and now the pattern increases. The patterns count up from 0, so we've got 3 options, don't we? We've got 3 places where that missing quarter note could fall. But let's go back to the density. Great.